Good afternoon, and thank you for joining this webinar. We'll give attendees just 2 more minutes to arrive, and then we'll get started. Stay tuned. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining this webinar, exploring how CTV advertisers are maximizing first-party data for precisely targeted campaigns with engaged audiences. Following this discussion, we'll have some time for Q&A, so take advantage of that. You don't have to wait until the end to submit your questions. You can add them at any point during the session through the Questions tab on the GoToWebinar platform. Everyone registered will also get a recording of this webinar in their inbox tomorrow, should you miss anything or want to revisit any part of this conversation. Today's guest is Reedy. Lauren is a solutions architect for MNTN's enterprise team. She works with enterprise brands to help develop a robust CTV strategy and tailored solutions for success on the MNTN platform. Lauren has been building strategic plans for MNTN's top clients for several years in an effort to drive measurable results and establish CTV as a key performance channel for brands of all kinds. As a champion for all things performance TV, Lauren is passionate about bringing her clients' ads to living rooms everywhere. And with that, we'll get started. Lauren, take it away.
Thanks, Sarah. Very nice to meet everyone. I will jump right in here. We already got the fun introductions out of the way, but I'll be your presenter today. As Sarah mentioned, I'm a solutions architect here at MNTN, working with our enterprise brands. So that just means I get to help them build a robust TV strategy and really tailor solutions that help them drive success through our MNTN platform and with their CTV ads. So excited to talk to everyone today and give some tips around first party data that we can use on the CTV platform. So we'll jump right in. What are we talking about today? We are talking about your first party data. So we all know this really represents some of your most valuable customers. And today we're going to talk about ways that CTV can really help you maximize targeting these customers on the TV platform. So jumping into our agenda and everything that we're going to be able to cover, why is first party data so valuable? And why we're referring to it today as the data jackpot, the lottery that you're sitting on and you might not even know it yet. So why is that the case? And then also, how can you collect it and how can you start utilizing this first party data properly? Also, why CTV retargeting is essential to true cross-device experience, and then some specific tactics that you can use to engage these loyal audiences. So we'll get into a lot of really fun examples of ways that we can really make sure to maximize this high value audience on the CTV channel. So jumping into the fun stuff. As we all know, CTV is just more popular than ever. Last year especially was really a banner year for this channel. Last July, actually, CTV beat out cable and broadcast TV in viewership numbers for the very first time. So a huge year for CTV and definitely just continuing to grow. We saw that in the fall, some of the big juggernauts, Disney and Netflix, they both launched their new ad-supported tiers. So with that, really almost every major player is now offering ad-supported content to viewers at a lower cost. So even though, a lot of the streaming services, as we've probably all seen, they keep climbing in price. We even saw Paramount Plus, for example, their price went up again last week. But with that, the ad-supported tiers are actually allowing viewers to access this content for less. So there's still that option to view ads, and as there are more and more and more streaming players that you likely have to pay for, viewers are leaning more and more into that ad-supported content so that they can cut costs as much as possible. At the same time that all this is happening, we're also seeing that the actual ad space for CTV, it has exploded with new technologies and capabilities. It's just continuing to grow and become more complex, which is amazing. So, this has included everything from affinity-based targeting, audience segment reporting, really true incrementality measurement, all of these things just making it radically different as an ad channel than even what it looked like, a year ago or a couple of years ago. So the result of all of this is now we have so much more must-see content. All of these networks are doubling down on premium, exclusive content for their viewers. And with that, we have more and more people watching more than ever. We have users really leaning into the ad-supported tiers. And this is really turning TV into what we think of as a performance marketing machine. Definitely here at Mountain, we think of CTV as a performance channel. So the result of TV becoming this performance marketing machine is that TV is now fully targetable and measurable. And when you think about this, as a concept, in a way that was unfathomable even like 5 or 7 years ago. We're actually able to measure outcomes through TV ads. So it has radically changed. It's no longer, an awareness play. We now can target and reach customers throughout the sales funnel through TV ads, really wherever they are, and then measure results. So we want to start thinking about TV in a new way. We no longer want to just deploy CTV ads anymore. Like in the early days of this channel, you could launch your CTV ads and say, okay, we're good to go. But now you really need to be thinking more strategically about your CTV campaigns and using all of the technologies at your disposal to really approach it with a performance marketing mindset. Because of this new world for CTV, it has kicked off a bit of an arms race. All of these brands are looking to maximize CTV's capabilities. And one of those, is really leveraging first-party data on this channel. I think it's also worth keeping in mind that even if you aren't doing so right now, your competitors most likely are. And they're taking advantage of CTV to try to grab more of that market share, possibly out from under you. So let's talk about first-party data and where brands can find it. Like we've been saying, you may be sitting on a gold mine of this data and not even realize it yet. Really, it's February. A lot of brands have just emerged from the holidays. That is a huge time to gather, a wealth of first-party data. All different information, can be collected from your customers and potential customers through different transactions like website visits, visiting different pages, different items that they shop for on your website, tracking obviously actual online purchases, tracking gift card purchasers as well as gift card receivers, signups for loyalty and rewards programs, email newsletters, of course, for things like coupons, updates, etc. So really, especially if you're a D2C brand coming out of the holidays, you likely have this mountain of fresh first-party data right now. And then you can continue to refresh and regenerate this source of first-party data throughout the course of the year through things like sales and seasonal pushes, new product launches, etc. So you have all this data. How do you cash in? So first of all, first-party data is likely holding your most valuable audiences. So let's talk about that. These are people who are familiar with your brand already. Whether they've engaged with you in some way, they've done their research, explored who you are, what you have to offer, they know who you are, at least to some extent. And because of this, they are likely going to be, more likely to convert, not just once, but again and again. We actually see that on average, a repeat customer is upwards to 10 times as much as a prospective customer. Not to say that prospective customers aren't still very important, but really targeting those past purchasers to purchase again can be up to 10 times as valuable. We also have stats that show that repeat customers spent 67% more money in 31 to 36 months than new customers in 0 to 6 months. And finally, the likelihood of additional purchases increases drastically with each transaction. So repeat customers are 27% more likely to purchase again after that first sale, another 45% more likely after 2, and then 54% after 3. So it actually increases with every single purchase, which is awesome. So I think it's pretty clear to see why these audiences are so valuable, and why it's so important to really capitalize on the potential you have with these audiences on a channel like CTV. So let's talk about why they're so valuable. I mean, we talked about this already, but they already know who you are. They've done the research. They've come to your website. They've maybe even shopped. They've maybe even purchased. You don't need to spend any time introducing them to your brand. So, you can actually jump right in kind of in the middle of their journey by using that first party data to target those users. They're already familiar. They've already started the conversation with you in some way. You can start engaging midway through that sales journey. Because of this, you can focus on less touch points before the conversion, saving you money, on additional ad impressions. And then you can also produce more creative and customize these ads to speak specifically to these audiences. So for instance, loyalty programs, as we talked about earlier, using first-party data to target people who are in your loyalty or rewards programs. You can then show them personalized ads that hones in on their specific customer journey. So maybe you offer a specific deal or a discount to bring them back to the site, or to spend more in their transactions. If you spend X, save X amount. They are a lot more likely to be engaging with those types of deals because they already know that they love your brand. So with this, the end result really is that you have this highly valuable audience that's more likely to convert, and then they're being served these ads that are customized to them, their unique tastes, their buying habits, etc., while they're sitting at home watching their favorite TV shows, and you have this beautiful 15-30-second ad to convince them of such. So how do we bring all this to life with CTV? So CTV's high impact ads blends the best of both worlds. So one, we have digital advertising, effective targeting, measurement. We're really able to hone in on the segments that are valuable to us using that first party data. And then, we have the magic of linear television, high impact storytelling through rich visual and audio ads. We're taking advantage of that, bringing it to CTV. When you bundle these two together, it really makes these ads stand out from all of your other channels that can also use first party data to target customers. You have a much better opportunity to really get your message across, draw the user in, than you would say, sending out an email that might land in their spam folder, for example. So really the power of CTV with these first party audiences is truly coming out of the ability to serve that really valuable creative. So some tactics. What are some of these first party tactics in practice? Well, retargeting lets you find and reach users who have visited your website and showed that high intent behavior. An example of this is a customer maybe who comes to your website, browses around, adds an item to their cart, but doesn't convert. Or maybe they visit multiple product pages, you get a sense of really, what they're shopping for and what they care about, who they are. So we know they're interested and they're poking around, but they haven't made the commitment yet. We want to reach them and advertise to them based on what we know from their browsing behaviors. So if they added items to cart, that's an obvious one. We know what they're interested in. If they browse certain pages on the website, that gives us some insight into, what they care about in this moment, etc. But we also want to reach people who have already committed, who have already converted and purchased in the past. And this we can do through CRM targeting. So this allows marketers to reach both prospects and potential customers already in the sales funnel now, or they were in the past, and really drive that full funnel approach. So a good example of this, let's say, we want to reach a lapsed customer. So someone who hasn't purchased in a certain number of months. Maybe they haven't purchased since last year, for example. And we want to show them some ads with some new products. Maybe we have a new product line or new colors, that we want to showcase. Maybe we have a new store opening or a sale, things like that can really, pull them back in and make them interested in the brand again. So we can do so by using the CRM list of lapsed customers of X amount of time, and then targeting them with specific CTV ads based on, who they are. So what's great about this, we're letting marketers focus their budgets really only on the users who are most likely to convert, who are most valuable to them in that moment or for whatever reason, and reaching them again while they're viewing that premium content in their home, watching TV. And really at the end of the day, what this allows advertisers to do is to save money, to save energy and time, which of course we all want. Okay, so it's not just about targeting. We also want to talk about measurement. Another big area that, has exploded for CTV in the past few years is the ability to really measure outcomes and ad performance. So that's a critical piece of your first party targeting strategy is really measuring the results of targeting these users. So premium CTV ad platforms like MNTN measure campaign performance with proprietary attribution models. A good example of this is MNTN's cross-device verified visit model. This can inform advertisers when their ad has been viewed in full and reports on whether a visit or a conversion then occurs on that advertiser's website from a device within the same household. So if a user sees the ad on their TV and then visits the website on their phone, tablet, or laptop within their household, that data is then tracked and reported back to the advertiser. And this is not just for any ad, this is only relevant ones. MNTN doesn't take credit for any visits driven by another paid media source, of course. And really the goal, this allows advertisers to accurately judge the success of their campaigns when they're using that first party data. So you have this first party data, you're able to target the audiences that are most likely to convert and most valuable to you. Now you're also able to accurately measure what the outcomes are. Did they visit the website? Did they take the next steps you wanted them to take? Did they make that purchase? How much did they spend this time versus last time? So just giving you that end-to-end view of success with this highly valuable data set. Okay, so how do you engage these loyal audiences? What are some of the best practices to do so on CTV? I'd say the first and most critical step is to access your data and then strategize. So this means reviewing your data and then determining what your opportunities are for targeting. This also means accessing the data you capture, via your different programs, your different CRM lists that you might have. And not just focusing on the sales that have occurred, but looking at other variables to better determine a customer's true value, true potential. And that can mean, how much did they spend? How often did they come back to the site and purchase? Did they go to the store? Did they go to the website, etc.? And then also connecting those dots between channels to really, harness additional data points and better, again, understand that customer's true value. So overall, the point here is really think strategically and use that first party data. It holds some of the most valuable audience info that you have, full of past, present, loyal customers. But think about it carefully, segment it based on exactly who you want to target and why, and then strategize how to deploy it, and think about how we might want to target those different groups with specific creative as well. And then step 2, putting it to work with CTV. So this means utilizing the power of CTV's targeting and measurement tools, allowing you to serve customizable messaging that resonates with your first party audience. So again, some great examples, deploying unique messaging for loyalty members, as we talked about, or you can build creative that targets a specific persona based on previous or incompleted purchases. So for example, let's say we're targeting users who have a history of shopping for outdoor items. During this time of year, maybe they're shopping for backcountry skiing equipment. We can serve an ad to them in the spring or so promoting camping gear. We know they're interested in outdoors, but it's a new season. Let's try to get ahead of it and reach them at that peak seasonal time. You can even A/B test to determine, which creative is resonating best with that specific first party audience that you're targeting. So in our example of outdoor enthusiasts, do they like to see this camping item, or do they like to see, this backpacking item in the ad, something like that. So continually testing to really arrive at, what is resonating best with my audience. And then even taking that one step further and using those creative and those audience insights that you're learning and bringing them to other channels. So maybe we've learned that, a repeat purchaser cares more about the variety that we have and new colors and things like that, and less about our competitive price point. And we've learned that through A/B testing. Let's bring those learnings to social and linear TV. And then finally, deploying multiple ads to multiple audience segments at once. So let's say, you have all this first party data, you want to segment it in all these ways, and you really want to specifically serve an ad to each of those different audience categories or tiers of your loyalty program or whatever it is. You can run specific ads to each of those groups. And maybe it even just means changing, something as simple as the discount code at the end or the call to action at the end of the TV commercial. Okay, so we've talked about the value of first party data. You now know how CTV can bring it to life, and also the best practices to engage audiences and measure success. With all of this, the key to maximizing your first party audiences is through CTV is finding the right ad platform. So brands need to be looking for strong performance channels to add to their marketing mix. So ones that offer powerful measurement capabilities, as we've talked about, and combine the prestige of TV with the accuracy and the performance of digital advertising, that perfect kind of blend. I mean, we all know marketing dollars are a bit precious this year, and marketing teams are cutting back, belts are tight. And really, every marketing dollar is under scrutiny right now. So there is more of an expectation for brands and marketing teams to produce quantifiable results. And so looking at like performance outcomes, thinking about your investment is going to be especially beneficial this year. For example, some CTV solutions really only focus on reach, which isn't all that different from linear TV to begin with, and not really maximizing this platform's capabilities and potential. So it's important instead to look for an always-on channel that can deliver actionable data that you'll need to make those informed decisions and actually drive the outcomes, not just now, but going forward as well. So when you are looking for an ad solution, you want to make sure you're looking for a partner that's really able to unlock CTV's potential, as we've talked about. Some of the capabilities you should be looking out for are the ability to upload and target CRM data. This sounds obvious, not every platform offers this, but really what we've talked about today, that the potential to use those first party data sets and target them against this channel can be so beneficial for brands. Also just the ability to target, to retarget segmented audiences, so specific audiences based on website browsing, purchase behavior, even being able to target them by geolocation, things like that. And then 24/7 accessible, transparent insights and reporting. So no middleman to have to go through or request your data from, the ability to really be able to access your performance data at any time. And then just the ease of uploading data, targeting, optimizing, really building out these audiences, and the ability to work towards the goal that matter most to you. So maybe it's ROAS, maybe it's cost per lead, maybe it's just website visits, but really being able to track all these things and build campaigns and audiences that can be working towards those goals. Also tools like auto optimization, just to make sure you're getting the absolute best return, and also the ability to run multiple ads, to A/B test them, to customize them, to refresh them regularly to avoid creative fatigue with your audience, all very critical for a CTV partner. At the end of the day, whatever partner you do choose, make sure they'll at least have these capabilities in order to really maximize the power of your first party data against the CTV channel. Because of course, not all CTV solutions are creative equal. And as you can guess, Mountain's Performance TV does do all of these things and much more. Some of the key things that we highlight, we serve only on living room quality content, meaning we only show TV ads on fully episodic programming, on premium channels, on large screen TV devices. So this allows for unskippable content, mimicking that high impact storytelling that we talked about, that you normally get from linear TV or traditional cable TV commercials, and powering that through streaming platforms. Mountain also has proprietary cross-device verified visit attribution. It's a mouthful, but it allows us to accurately measure the success of our clients' CTV campaigns. And we're able to track this performance both in our platform and in your third-party measurement partners like Google Analytics, who we do have a partnership with and integration with. Also, our performance optimization engine uses real-time performance data to make informed decisions and drive stronger results for your targeted audiences. So takes all of the work off of your plate and uses AI machine learning to actually make these informed decisions and optimize your campaigns. And then our customizable performance dashboard allows you to see the campaign metrics and the results that you care about. So, whatever those outcomes are that you want to be measuring for your team's success, you can customize the performance dashboard to be able to see those in real time. And our transparent reporting allows you to access this data right in our Mountain platform whenever you need to. Also, we have A/B testing capabilities. I've talked a ton about the importance of continually testing. This allows you to always really be learning from your channel, always be driving towards better, stronger performance. And then finally, our fast-vertising mentality with regards to our CTV creative solutions. So allowing advertisers to build new ads quickly, to always be testing different variations, and to customize these ads, as we talked about, to the specific audiences that they are targeting. So again, having the ability to be able to produce quality TV video ads quickly and produce several of them for testing purposes is that fast-vertising mentality and is so critical to successful CTV campaigns. And then of course, what we're talking about today, the ability to harness your brand's first-party audiences or help you find new third-party audiences to target on this powerful channel. All qualities that you want to look for in a CTV partner. Okay, so I'll wrap it up. I know that was a lot of info. I've been talking your ear off, but we can consolidate it into 4 key takeaways. First up is that first-party data holds your most valuable audiences, and CTV really helps you unlock it. Second is that it's easy to collect and replenish your first-party data through marketing initiatives, not just during peak seasons like the holidays, but all year round. And then you are able to enter those peak seasons like the holidays in an even better position. Also, CTV retargeting tactics lets brands focus their budget on the consumers that are most likely to convert and most valuable to them. And finally, Not all CTV advertising solutions are created equal, but the right ones can help drive conversions and revenue across all levels of the sales funnel. That is all I got for you guys today. I will pass it back to Sarah from here. I know she is going to handle the Q&A, but thank you for the time. Very much appreciate it.
Thanks, Lauren. So we do have some time for some questions. As a reminder to everyone listening, you can submit these via the question bar, the question tab on GoTo. So here's our first question. Is CTV's application of first-party data really that different from other ad channels, and why shouldn't people just stick with social?
That's a great question. I think that comes up a lot with our clients, because it's true. There are a lot of channels you can use first-party data on to target those audiences. And honestly, if social, email, if they're working for you, by all means, don't abandon it. CTV is not meant to replace any of these channels, but instead sit alongside as an additional pillar of performance marketing. With that, though, there are definitely reasons why CTV stands apart in some ways. I think, the blend that we talked about of a really strong ad format. So that high impact storytelling that you're able to achieve with a video ad on someone's TV while they're watching, an episode of their favorite show. And when that's combined with the power of digital marketing, so effective targeting and measurement, that really does make CTV stand out. So if you think about, social, for example, there's a scroll heavy nature to social. It's easy for users to just scroll past an ad. You don't have that full share of voice. You also run the risk sometimes of your ad being seen next to content that's maybe brand damaging or just, not aligned with what your messaging is in some way. And so with CTV, you can avoid that. The other thing that I mentioned earlier, just thinking about like email, for example, where first party data is the focus, those ads can get lost in the shuffle really easily. So there's a million other emails. We all know this. Our inboxes are flooded with emails from brands. Sometimes they don't even get opened. Sometimes they land in spam. I think there's a stat that says like 44% of users will check their email for a deal, but that's pretty much it. And it's really a coin toss whether or not you're going to actually be able to get your message to that user. So obviously that's not a concern for CTV, where they will see that ad in full, 9.9 times out of 10 in the way that we're targeting living room quality content. And so that's what's great about this channel versus, a lot of the other ones that also have that same targeting capabilities on the first party audience front.
Great, thanks. Next question. How should CTV advertisers best utilize data from their CRM in their campaigns?
That is a great question. There's a lot of really fun ways that you can utilize your CRM list, and a lot of brands don't even realize they have access to some of the data segments that they do. First of all, you can reach both prospects and potential customers, past customers. So at any point in the sales funnel, we can be segmenting to really drive that full funnel approach. A good example we talked about would be targeting like lapsed customers. So customers who haven't been back to the site or to the store in a certain period of time. But then you can get even more specific there. So bucketing those past purchasers or those lapsed customers into different value tiers. So have they purchased X amount of times or more? Have they purchased X amount of revenue, each time or more? And targeting those different groups based on the value that they have to your brand, with ads specific to them. So a good example, we have a luxury sleepwear brand, and they have very high price point items, and then they have more medium price point items. And for their past customers who have spent a decent amount, above X amount on average, we are able to target them with ads that are showcasing more of those luxury items. So just knowing that you're able to segment in that way. And then, everything from, let's think about the holidays. You can target a CRM list of people who shopped heavily last holiday season, or if they're, this past weekend, President's Day, if same thing, there were shoppers that shopped really heavily or looked for a deal last President's Day, we can target them again, things like that. And then also people who shop, kind of like we talked about with the outdoor segment, people who shop for certain types of products and kind of showcase, their purchasing behavior in that way. Again, showing them an ad that you want them to consider because of this. So capabilities like this, really help advertisers reach those audiences in the right way and really curate and tailor to what they are most interested in, which is very valuable in bringing them back and getting them to purchase again and spend a lot more money.
I knew I was going to forget to unmute myself at some point. All right, next question. What challenges should brands look out for when they are using first-party data?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few. So I'd say one big challenge can be, just the ability to scale those audiences on this channel specifically. So you want to look for, let's say with CRM lists, you want to look for a CTV provider that has high match rates, or, in general, for not just CTV, but really any channel. Having those high match rates gives you more ability to scale, of course. I know that, with Mountain, when we're comparing our match rates to other platforms that are able to use CRM lists in the same way, we do have a much higher match rate than channels like YouTube, LinkedIn, substantially higher than Meta, I know. And when the match rates are lower, it does substantially cut into your ability to actually scale performance. Another challenge can be just making sure that the CRM lists remain up to date. And so making sure that they aren't stale, that you're continuing to add new users to those lists, however, you are gathering that data. So just making sure that it's a clean, up-to-date list as well. The other thing too is just making sure that you're feeding that pool, right? So repeat purchasers, for example, they started as a prospect and then became a first-time purchaser, and then we're able to retarget them with all these efforts that we're talking about. But just making sure that you're also focusing on, that top of funnel, that prospecting effort to really bring new users into the overall funnel so that we can then retarget them and they do fall into our first-party audiences. So not ignoring, bringing in first-time purchasers. And then last, I'd say creative. Really with CTV in general, creative can be a challenge. And especially, as much as we've talked about wanting to target these different audience segments and strategizing with your first party audience data to build out these different unique user groups, the ability to serve them targeted, tailored messaging and creative is really important if you want to drive the best results. But it can be a challenge just to produce high quality video ads for CTV. That is, really the top reason we created what we call creative as a subscription model. So, for our brands that are a part of that model, they get new high quality ads every quarter that they can then use to test against the different audiences that they're targeting. And so it's no additional cost, in that model, but it really democratizes CTV for all brands. So it gives them the ability to really maximize this channel and not be limited on the creative front. I think that would be the main challenges that I would mention.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point about the maintenance of the first party data. It's not just a set it and forget it situation necessarily.
Exactly.
And I guess kind of going along with that, what's the best first step that someone should take before putting a campaign into flight with first party data?
Yeah, I'd say first, just aligning the audience again with that creative, the message, that they want to deliver. I get kind of back to that luxury sleepwear example, but they have kind of discovered that their flagship core item that they sell is what everyone buys the very first time. It's just the lowest price point. It's a staple. It's the lowest barrier to entry. So when we target a website visitor who hasn't purchased yet, we know we want to advertise for this flagship product. We know we want our messaging to lean into our core selling propositions and value. Now, when we're targeting someone who has already completed their first purchase, we know they've experienced that product, they're already sold on the quality and the value of the brand. We now target that audience, like I said, with maybe a higher price point, maybe new colors or just new different products or fabrics that are out. And the messaging is leaning into, the seasonality and the different variations of products that we have, and less on, the core fundamentals. So thinking about it in that way and aligning that messaging and content with the actual audience that you're targeting is critical. Another step would be just continuing to test. Even as we build out these different audience segments, we want to be testing that messaging so that we can learn things like that. So we do know, this is the messaging that resonates with this group versus this one, but also testing the audiences. So, trying out different groupings and seeing what resonates best with them. And on the creative side, when we're testing, it can be everything from the messaging, the promos, the product showcase, the demographic of the author, the actors in the video, things like that. So there's a lot to test, and the more you test, the more you learn. I think, that would be the biggest one. Obviously with Mountain, there is a lot of that capability to continually build new creatives for testing, but just thinking about it strategically, making sure that the actual video and the audience that you're targeting are matching up.
Great. I think that actually leads into our next question, which is how are marketers using that first-party data to optimize CTV campaigns? I'm guessing that goes into the testing you were talking about.
Yes. A/B testing for those different first-party audience segments. So, testing against cart, people who added to cart, people who shopped for specific products, and really seeing what drives the best results for each. That's really key to continually trying to move the needle. So first, of course, you want to make sure you're able to segment those audiences in that way, but then really learning about each of those groups in terms of what will drive the best results. And really running highly targeted campaigns. Even you can do it, through geo-targeting, for example. We have a good example. We have an MBA team that runs geo-targeted ads just in one specific DMA, and they're able to get weekly updates just to see how that is performing in that specific geo. So when you're equipped with the right CTV ad platform, you can use that really specific data, everything down to, the geos, as well as when we're A/B testing, which creative is performing better, which audience is performing better, et cetera, to really determine, how we can continue to move the needle and improve performance moving forward. And then, from there, tailoring the creative once we get those learnings for maximum impact. So continuing to make adjustments, try new variations to get closer and closer to, let's say, the perfect science of what's going to work best for your individual audience.
Thanks. We still have time for, I guess, one or two more questions. Mountain's case, how is Mountain mapping users from web desktop environments to a particular CTV device? Is it an external ID graph of some sort or another tactic?
Yeah, so everything is connected through the household IP address. And so when we show an ad on your TV, your living room TV, we also have a cross-device map that knows the other personal devices that are in your household. So my household, my laptop, my tablet, my cell phone, and then my husband's version of all those things, those are all mapped to my household IP through our cross-device map. And that's how we're able to see both target, but also see performance through the cross-device behavior. After someone sees the TV ad, let's say they go to their cell phone and visit your website and convert, we can now connect that to the ad that they saw on their TV screen. Of course, if they see the ad on their TV screen and then they come to your site by clicking on a Facebook ad, a meta ad, We would obviously never take credit for that since now another channel is involved. It's only when we know they saw that TV ad in full and they're coming to their personal device, they're coming to your website through their personal devices within the same household IP, and no other paid channels are involved.
All right, thank you. I think we'll wrap right there. Thank you, Lauren, for your insights today. And I'd like to thank everyone for listening and submitting questions. Like we said earlier, everyone will get a recording of today's session, and have a great rest of the day.
Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.